Hello, that's Greg Man for the Greg Man Radio Show. We're actually live. And waiting on my friend.
Hello.
Hey, Tony, this is Greg.
Hey, how's everything, sir?
I'm good. I got you live on my show right now.
Cool.
You want to talk about your upcoming company journey here? Your new...
Yeah, I started Power Pack Wrestling back in 2008. I'd been wrestling for, independent.
Yeah, the American Pro Wrestling.
Indie wrestler.
Yeah.
For many years. And just decided to, see how it was on the business side and, start my own promotion and ran pretty good and, still had a 9-to-5 job and, 9-to-5 job got where it was, 60, 70, and 80 hours a week and kind of had to pull back and now I've got a job but, I have a lot of free time and decided to get back in it and got a good cool team together. Several guys that's been in the business for years. We're teamed up together and
cool.
Going to start and going to just start running Buff the Carolinas for right now.
Yeah. Wrestling like it used to be on TV or nothing like back in the days.
Everything kind of takes a cycle, and you see these big promotions on television with millions and millions of dollars, but they get to a point where they get stale, and the indie circuit even got like that a little bit.
Yeah.
And it's time for a change. It's time to kind of refreshing a lot of things up, and that's what we're hoping to achieve and what we're trying to accomplish also.
Yeah, I hope I can get out and see some of that shows. If it's on Saturday, it's hard for me to do that.
Oh yeah,
because I did that security job on the weekends.
Yeah.
This is actually, I'm doing my first live show today.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, this is actually going out right now. It's live.
Oh, wow. Hey, first all the way around, man.
Yeah. I know I came down a couple of times and watched you wrestle a couple of times when you were down over at Whitney and Spartanburg. And I remember when they first started, they were at the flea market thing across the street from there. Wrestling. Yeah. I used to show up at ringside. That was the only place I could get ringside without having to pay not much money.
Yeah.
I don't know. His thing kind of went downhill when he moved, I think.
Yeah, I mean,
he's getting older.
Don't get me wrong. I loved, the way I got in the business, and I love a lot of the promoters I work for, and some of them are old school and have an old school way of thinking, and that's okay in a sense, but also everything grows, and if you don't grow, you kind of step your foot back, and I think a lot of promoters has forgotten that.
Yeah. You gotta have, if you can't get the fans to come to your shows, you ain't gonna have much of a fan base. Or you can get the
Well, and a lot of promoters around here, they get fixated. They get, same amount of fans, that come through their door, and they get, it's great to have, your true fans that come every time you open the door and stuff like that. And that's totally, that's what you want, but you also want to have new fans coming in, and that's how you get word of mouth around. Is the more new fans you get, they're gonna tell other fans, other people, and if you get the same customers week in, week out, you're not getting your name out.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, in the way Power Pack Wrestling is, you know, we're not, as of right now, we don't have a house show. Yeah. And that's where, you know, you're renting out a building or you buy a building and you do a show there, you know, every week or every bi-weekly or whatever you're going to do. And, you know, ours is going to be a true traveling show. I mean, we could be, you know, in Spartanburg this week, and next month we could be on the coast of North Carolina, and, you know, the week after that we could be, you know, in the mountains of, you know, South Carolina.
Yeah. My big dream, I don't know why, my big dream was to want to be doing this, to be a manager of one wrestler for one show, and that's it, and walk away. I've been dreaming that since I was a kid.
Yeah. It's like, well, I'm going to tell you, wrestling is a lot like a tattoo. You know, somebody that's never had a tattoo, that wants a tattoo, you know, they talk about it, and when they get that first tattoo, then they're hooked, and, you know, for long, you know, their whole body is filled with tattoos, and, you know, that's a lot like wrestling. I mean,
I've been watching it since 1984.
Yeah, I mean, I've been watching it, oh, Lord, you know, I don't want to really show my age, but, I've been, I think, you know, ever since my eyes got open good, you know, I was looking at wrestling, and, you know, I was, you know, wanting to get involved, and I had a chance, me and my best friend in high school, both of us went to Burns High School right there in Duncan, South Carolina.
Yes, I did.
And we both had we were some big boys, and, you know, nice and muscular, didn't have a lot of fat back then, and we decided we were going to go up to Charlotte, North Carolina, to one of the wrestling schools, and I drove on up early that morning. Well, he had to work at, you know, his job, and he was going to try to get off early after lunch and go on up there, and I think school started like, you know, around 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock or something like that. And, he wasn't able to get off work, and, you know, I sat up there in Charlotte in the parking lot, and just too chicken to walk inside, man. And that was back in '87. And, you know, but later on, got to work with a guy, and, you know, me and him were working for a local trucker company down here, right here in Greer, South Carolina. And got to talking about wrestling, and, you know, man, we talked, you know, probably a good 3 or 4 days at work about wrestling and how much I loved it, and, you know, just some of the great characters, you know, used to grow up watching. And then he informed me that he was an indie wrestler, and I was like, oh, man, no, you're not. And, you know, he's like, hey, you know, this Saturday, won't you come up here to Whitney and come watch me wrestle? And I was, you know, I was kind of, you know, at that point, I was like, well, maybe he is a wrestler, you know. Go up there, me and my son, you know, we go and, you know, watch the guy that I work with wrestle, and that got me hooked. And, I said the magic words, you know, what do I have to do to learn how to wrestle? And, you know, that very next week, I'm in the middle of the ring, you know, here I am, a big old boy, you know, what we call bumping. And, I mean, it's just stand in the middle of the ring and kick your feet out from underneath you and let your back hit the mat. And so ever since.
I hope this takes off very well whenever you get started.
But, yeah, like you say, I mean, and things about managers is you know, you got a lot of guys that's got great talent in wrestling. They're wonderful in the ring wrestling, but, you know, they've not spent the time of working on the mic. So, you know, And managers, a lot of guys and girls too, they don't look at wrestling as being that big part. But I mean, Lord, look at J.J. Dillon, Paul Hogan.
Yeah. Paul Jones.
Paul Jones. And I could go on and on and on.
Yeah, I know. There's a lot of big ones.
Yeah, I mean, and that's a great thing about a manager. You get a good manager that can work a stick. The crowd and the fans listen to this manager, and they're looking at his product sitting beside him, and his product may not be the best on the stick, but he gets in that ring and works a good match. A manager can be the best thing for a baby face or for a heel.
Yeah. I remember that guy used to wrestle in APW, Matt. I'm friends with him, but he's got his own whole thing going on up in Lincoln, in North Carolina now.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a pretty good manager there. Talker.
Oh, yeah. I remember when I first was going to APW, you had James McComb. Man, I mean, he could literally get you just wanting to come over and jump in the ring and beat him up.
Yeah. I remember one guy was Colonel Sanders or something. Boss Hog or something. I don't remember what he was. He was dressed all in white. It was funny.
Yeah. I remember him. He was a good character.
Yeah.
I mean,
some people come up with good ones. It all depends on how you talk to Mike and get the crowd into it, and get them. If you get them on the good side or bad side, they don't care which way.
Oh yeah. There's a manager now at APW. They call him the Colonel.
Yes, I've seen that guy's videos. There have been some crazy, funny videos.
Yeah.
Some of them going beyond where it should have go.
Yeah, and I mean he's really doing a good job here lately. I'm really hoping to be able to sit down with him and get a contract going with him. I mean,
well, you pull him away from him, boy, that place might go down. Well, that happens sometimes, something better over here, and it happens all the time with him.
And there again, I'm not trying to step on anybody's toes, and I'd really like to work with a lot of the bookers and guys around here, maybe if you got a couple of shows that's running on a Saturday, if I could know ahead of time, maybe I could run my show on a Friday or on a Thursday or something like that, or if it's a show, if somebody's got a show that they're starting up at 6:00 on a Saturday, if kind of know ahead of time, maybe can work my show where I start a little earlier. That way, you can you're not really running over top of each other.
Yeah. You're gonna have. It looks like you might have some women wrestlers in this one too.
Yeah, and that's one of the good things about with me. I'm working with a guy, Matthew Granahan. Man, he's been in the business for 20 plus years or better, and he's got some good connections. And one of the guys that's a promoter in another state, he's got some really good female talent. I mean, these girls are just, in a class all by herself. And, he's had girls that's, moved on up to, WWE and, Ring of Honor and, other talent like that. So, Matthew's working with him to have him to, get some of his girls to come and work some of our shows, and he's willing to, if he's got a spot open, he'll get some of our guys, and we can shoot them down there to his place, and put them in his show, and kind of have a gentleman's agreement, and that's one of the things we're really looking at doing is putting in some good females. I mean, and especially with some of the shows you see on TV, the women have really stepped their game up over the past few years. They're not just just going around oohing and on over, let the guys ooh and on over them. I mean, there's a lot of great talent out there. Charlotte Flair, a lot of them. I mean, there's
Lisa Blanchard, I found.
Yeah. Like for me, man, back in the '90s, I love DX, but I mean, a great thing about DX was, you had China in there, and I mean, to me, China was, just as biggest part of DX is, Triple H and Shawn.
Yeah. Definitely. You had the Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling back in '87.
Oh, yeah.
That was kind of like okay show, but it's like, I don't know about this anymore. You watch it now, and you're like, what the heck are we watching now?
Oh, man. Yeah, I remember, even in the early days, when Macho Man, you had Miss Elizabeth, and, I mean, she was out there. She was on the side of the ring.
Yeah. But she got in there and interfered a lot. A lot of them do.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of, you always love watching her come out, and then, for the most part, she was by the ring. Yeah. Then all of a sudden, every now and then you see her sneak in and, interfere, and, they got you riled up on the end of your seat that, hey, that woman interfered.
Yeah.
And, now these days, you're on the edge of your seat because, you got the women in there that's, putting on a grade A match, that's just as good as some of the guys.
Yeah.
Hey, that's quite okay. I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but
he's a dog.
We got about I think 8 dogs ourselves. We used to breed different masses like bull masses and Neapolitan masses and feline masses.
Yeah.
We used to have dogs all over the yard. I used to tell my wife, I'd love to take one of our feline or one of our mastiffs to a show and put them up, let them walk down and to the ring with me and put them up in the in the ring like British Bulldog used to do.
Yeah, I remember that.
But
hey.
When you got a 200-pound dog, you want to make sure that he's going to stay in the ring and not go after nobody.
Yeah, that's for sure. It was good talking to you. I hadn't talked to you in a long time.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man.
Since I moved out of Lyman, moved this way in Greenville, and just been working on this. I've been started this podcast doing this since back in January. Turn it into something else. Now I got new logo and promotional items. And now we'll have media stuff around my neck whenever I go to places. It's fun doing interviews. My first interview was a comedian on a cruise ship.
Oh, wow.
It was Joe Bronzy. And I did a guy I went to school with for his, Jeffrey Anderson. He's going to be a country music singer coming up soon. I got him interviewed, and this is my first one about talking about wrestling, and this is a good thing to be talking about.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan. I've been a fan ever since. I have met some Ric Flair before. A lot of I got Tully Blanchard's autograph. I got a lot of big names autographs.
I guess my claim to fame of a big wrestler back in the day was I was born and raised right outside of Raleigh, North Carolina. Wow. And my daddy was a highway patrolman, and for years, later on he became a town cop for one of the towns we lived in. But when he was a highway patrolman, they would use a lot of the police officer for like security over at the TV station at WRL in Raleigh. Wow. When they used to do, the TV taping at their studio. Yeah. And one of the times we went, I was just a little kid. I was 3-4 years old, I think. And Daddy took me, and he was in the back, and I'm basically holding on to Daddy's finger, walking around, and he got to talking to Wahoo McDaniel. Oh man! And he asked Wahoo, about getting a picture with him, and he had brought one of the little small 35 millimeter little cameras, and Wahoo said, yeah, and Wahoo ended up picking me up and holding me, and Daddy was standing beside Wahoo, and Daddy let somebody take some pictures of us, and man, for the longest time I had that picture in my room, and when we moved down here, it got lost somewhere in the shuffle, and I lost it. But
I can't believe Ric Flair's coming down here to Greenville, but what he's charging, I wouldn't want to go see him.
Oh yeah,
$100.
It's expensive, but that's one of them. If you like us and grew up around it, he's probably one of the biggest icons. Him and Hogan is probably one of the biggest icons in wrestling.
Yeah. Everybody's wanting them to wrestle each other, and they finally did. After they went to WCW too.
I know. A lot of the times be in the back, working shows and stuff like that, and some of these younger guys will get to talking, who's your favorite wrestler? Who's your favorite wrestling team and stuff like that. And one of the young boys, he's probably 18, 19, somewhere around that age. Yeah. He asked me one day, he's like, "Hey, Commissioner," he said, "What's your favorite wrestling team?" And I looked at him, just didn't even give it a second thought. I looked at him, I said, "Ricky Steamboat and Jay Youngblood." Oh yeah. And it's like his whole face just started drooping. And he's like, "I've never in my life heard of them." I was like, "Dude, go home, get on your computer, type in their name, and go to Google and type in their name." Yeah. I was like, trust me, it's great that you know who the Hardys are and all that, but you got guys, way before then that was, in the biz for years before them boys ever thought about it.
Oh, yeah. I followed Sting back when he was in the UWF and come up.
Oh, wow, yeah.
And back when he was Blade Runners. When Sting told the scene, oh, boy, that was good. I got a jacket. It don't even fit no more, but it's WCW. Has Sting on the back of it. It's hard to find that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I kept it up in the closet. I ain't getting rid of that one.
No.
Well,
when we still lived in North Carolina, you know, me and my brother, mom or dad will take us to, you know, the TV studio where they, NWA would come and do a lot of shows.
Yeah.
Man, I used to have, you know, sweatbands and T-shirts and, you know, the little posters and stuff like that. And,
yeah.
Man, wish I was smart enough to brought them home and put them up in safe keepings.
The only thing I have is I got an old Rock and Roll Express bandana, Jim Crockett Promotions. I found it at Goodwill several years ago, and I hung on to it.
Oh, wow.
I even got, remember when the wrestling dolls came out?
Oh, yeah.
I have the very first Hulk Hogan and with a belt in 1984. I even got a Macho Man, too.
Wow.
I hung on to those because I was like, it was part of my childhood. I was like,
oh, yeah.
Well, it was good talking to you and everything.
Yeah, you too.
And if you ever want to interview again, reach out to me and we'll do this again.
Yeah, I'll definitely. I mean, I'll give you a holler back. Just like I say, I got some up and coming dates. Nothing chiseled in stone. I got to make sure the building, you know, they're gonna let us, you know, come and work a show. Then got to start, you know, seeing all what guys I can, you know, what guys and girls I can get booked for the show. And as soon as I get something chiseled in stone, I'll definitely give you a holler back. So you can kind of put it out there to all your fans.
Yeah, then maybe I can show up at the show and maybe get to go backstage and see how things are.
Yeah.
I love being backstage. I worked backstage at the Bottle Center in 2003 for Raw.
Oh, wow.
And I got to meet Goldberg and all them back there. Couldn't get no autographs, but I got to meet them. You know. It's pretty cool. I'll never forget what Goldberg said. He had this guy get down and says, he got down in a football stance. He said, if you get down there, you better mean it.
Yeah.
I never forget that saying. I got really close up to Stephanie McMahon several times walking by her.
Yeah, I've been to a couple of shows at Philo or Bounds Core, but I've never got to go in the back yet.
Well, I even got my first Nitro there. WCW Nitro, when it was first time coming there, when they built the thing. I even went to a Raw show. I went to for my first WWE or WWF, I think it must have been WWF at the time, because I got to sit on the floor for that seat. For the first time ever. That's the closest I've been.
Yeah.
But it feels weird when you go to these shows. It's like they're looking at you and they know you and stuff. It's weird. I get that look all the time when I'm going in places. Like they know you, like, why are you here? Like they've been following you or something. But I don't know. It's great to have you on my show, and I'll reach out again and have you back again.
Definitely. Thank you for inviting me. And
I'll share this on your page and wherever you want me to share it. I'll share the.
Yeah, if you can, like I say, if you'll share it on my page or even go to Power Pack Wrestling and put it on there, that would be.
Yeah, I can do that because I can save it and copy it and put it on there.
Okay.
All right, you have a good day, and thanks for being on my show.
All right, thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Have a good day.
See you, man.
See you, man.
Bye-bye.
Bye. All right, this is the Great Man for the Great Man Radio Show, and I hope everybody enjoyed that. We're doing my first live show, and I'm fixing to jump out of here, and I hope everybody has a great tomorrow, this weekend. So have a great weekend. This is Great Man for the Great Man Radio Show. Peace, I'm out. Ain't saying sock it to me, it's Mooney's time.
Now, folks, it's sock it to me time.
Sock it to me, honey.
Well, I've never been bored before. Hey, it must be sock it to me time. Sock it to me.
Sock it to me, sock it to me, sock it to me, sock it to me.
Sock it to yourself.
Sock it to me.